Welcome back to This Week in Indies. As 2022 draws to a close, we're going to look at all we've accomplished and the lessons we've learned that we will take with us into 2023. We will also discuss what in 2023 we're looking at trying and accomplishing. We will do all of this as we're celebrating with our roundtable discussion panel. Then C.L. Cannon will be along, daring you to add to your TBR with indie books like that of Dash and Lily's Book of Dares. Then finally, we turn up the volume for the final 5 minutes with our friend, Mr. Freddie Cruz. So sit back, get those chat fingers stretched, and that cup of coffee ready to join your host for This Week in Indies, Joe Compton. Sorry, y'all, I'm a little out of practice. But welcome to This Week in Indies. It is good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good next day for some people, I guess, if you're watching from afar. We really appreciate it. And if you don't mind, because YouTube is screwing around once again with how they determine what a view is, and don't get me started on that, but something that they were really prevalently telling creators to concentrate on is the like buttons. I guess apparently nobody knew it was there before, but now all of a sudden YouTube wants to make everybody aware of it. So if you don't mind, if you're here, please hit that like button because that's important. And you'll probably hear me say that a couple times today, and I'm sure our panel will do the same because we've got one heck of a great one. I can tell you that right now. And we're here, and it's going to be a great show. We're going to be talking about what was behind us, what is in front of us, and all that wonderful stuff. And I will give you guys a spoiler alert. Something is going to happen in today's show. I'm going to mention something in today's show that I've never done in the history of this show. So get ready. So stick around and enjoy, and hope you do hang out with us because we really appreciate you all being here, as I do with my panel. Look at this lovely, lovely panel, this group. She just can't get away. Even though I give her a day off, she decides to come and hang out with us anyway. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, Miss Dale.
Hey guys, I'm Madeline Dale. I am a frequent host of this show, and like Joe said, I just can't get away. I love the environment and getting to chat with everyone. But I'm also a urban fantasy kind of romance author. You can see some of my books in my background here. All of them are available on my website. And Breaking Traditions over here on this side is about to be put back on Kindle Unlimited. So check them out. And be sure to like this show, guys. Like Joe said, we need those likes. And drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know you're here.
Like this one from Karina.
Hey, Karina.
All right, hey, Vanessa.
Hey, y'all. I'm Vanessa Junta. I am the author of the Soul Cavern series. This is book 1, Javaja. You can find more about me right there. That has all my links. And I'm super excited to be here, even though I'm in my jammies. Don't take the fact that I'm in my jammies to mean that I'm not excited to be here, because I am.
It's a comfort thing. I think it's very comforting.
I should probably plug my show.
Yes.
I have a show the second Monday of every month called A Conversation and a Cocktail, where I sit down and basically shoot the shit with an indie creator. And this month's, should I announce this month's?
Sure, go ahead.
This month's guest is none other than Mr. Joe Compton. So, yes, I'm very excited because I get to talk to him on air, which I never do, like, except for things like this where he's running the things. So I'm very excited.
I'm excited as well. I love this show, and I was very honored to be asked to be a part of it. you've kind of done kind of this thing accidentally. You probably didn't know this, but traditionally, like in December, for some reason, somebody always asks me to be on their show, and I'm always on their show. So you're keeping the tradition alive, Vanessa.
See, that's what we do.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. It's nice to have you. All
And
right,
hit the
Miss
like
Stewart.
button.
Hi, I'm Anita Stewart, right under AF Stewart, all things dark and stabby. And I also host 2 podcasts, one for Go Indie Now, Words That Kill, and another Between the Pages Book Chat, which a new episode is airing today, later on this afternoon. And I also do designs, have my own store on Redbubble, and I have now opened services over on Ko-fi for designing book graphics for authors. So
Awesome. Welcome. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. All right, Miss C. Okay, look at this. We're breaking the 4th wall to the 5th wall to the 10th power. Mom Boss is here, everybody.
Hey guys, I am CL Cannon, aka Courtney Cannon. I do a lot of things here on Go Indie Now, including the monthly marketing tip and the Indie Connection, which you'll see today. In my spare time, which is very little, I do fantasy and sci-fi. I write fantasy and sci-fi, and I also help authors with my website Fiction Atlas and my Fiction Atlas author builders. And excited to be here and talk about all the stuff that we've been through this year and all we're going to be doing next year. And remember to smash the like button.
Nice.
Mom Boss says to do it, okay?
Thank you.
Smash it.
All right. And if I was smart, see, I'm totally out of practice, Maddie. I should have had Freddie go first because he's going last later on today as well. So I apologize, Mr. Cruz, but tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
No, thank you everybody for inviting me to be on the show. I'm Freddie Cruz, and I do a little bit of everything, kind of like everybody else here. No rest for the weary. We want to do all the things while we are alive. I've got a media company which focuses primarily on podcast production and consulting. My new novel is a fiction novel, a standalone. It is a mystery set against the backdrop of Houston, Texas during the holiday season. It's my tribute to my hometown, with to take our AF Miss Stewart's words, dark and stabby, a dark and stabby twist, a dark and stabby ode to my favorite city. I also have a podcast called Freddie's Huge Ask Podcast. Season 2 wraps up this month. I'm really excited about. I'm excited about all of my episodes, but this month in particular, super excited. I'm going to talk to Evan Carmichael, who is an entrepreneur with several million YouTube subscribers. I recently got a chance to chop it up with Dr. Ramachalapa, who is one of the pioneering AI researchers, and getting to read his book and speak with him and get inside the mind of somebody who knows about AI was a privilege that I cannot wait to share with people who listen to my show. So,
I was figuring today that AI would get mentioned at some point today, but that was the most unique way it has ever been mentioned. So
that's his book right there. I mean, look at that cover. Look at that. Yeah.
Cool.
And he only goes deep, meaning deep to the point where the everyday man like myself cannot understand. He only goes deep once. But yeah, oh my God. It's just yeah, and it's a short book too.
Yeah, it looks
so you can
small.
Yeah, you can blow through it. It's about what is it, 150 something pages? No, I'm sorry, 160, with about 20 some odd pages of notes. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Everybody go check it out. All right. And Korea says, woohoo, Joe to be interviewed. Yes. Well, it's not really an interview. I mean, Vanessa's style is very conversational. So it's more like a conversation that I get to have with one of my favorite people. So I'm excited about that. Vanessa breaking the 4th wall says, all things dark and stabby. Best tagline ever. I don't know. Alexander's is pretty good, but I'll give it to Anita today. So. And hi all, joining the 4th wall breaking. Absolutely no rest for the weary. Yay, Freddie.
Hey, Karina.
All right. Yes. Hello, Karina. I hope you're doing well in Greece. I hope it's nice and warm. Actually, it's probably very cold there right now. But actually, are they below the equator? No, they're above the equator.
No, it's
You're-
probably very warm there.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yes. I mean, maybe not hot, but it's warm.
Yeah.
I imagine. I'm sure she'll tell us.
Comfy.
Yes, I'm sure she will.
Yes.
But welcome everybody. So I do these shows pretty much every year in some variance or some form of another, and I kind of mixed it up a little bit differently this time. But I mean, it's really the same veil, So in talking about cold, she says, cold in bed and jammies.
Okay. You should. Well, I'm also in jammies, so Karina and I are in jammies together.
Hey.
I'm guessing that her cold though is not
The
Anita's
same.
cold.
Yeah. It's not the same as Anita's cold at all.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
probably
no.
closer to my cold.
Yeah.
Anita's cold, I think, trumps everybody's cold.
Yes, I would agree. I
For
think that's
real.
probably very true.
For real.
But I want to start with looking at. I know some people don't like to look back, and if you're one of those people, that's fine. But looking at how this year began, because we walked into this year with a lot of uncertainty. There was a lot of trepidation. There was a lot of let's get back to normal, kind of move forward, but let's be cautious about it. That was a lot of the sentiment last year when we did this show. Looking at it now, though, from that perspective at the beginning, do you feel like this year was a lot more different than you thought it would be? Or did you feel like there was a lot of trepidation and a lot of cautiousness that you performed with? Or did you just let it all go away? How did you guys handle the year in terms of that and looking at what you thought it would be as opposed to what it was?
Well, for me, I do a lot of conventions, and I was kind of back on a regular convention schedule, but most of the conventions that I attended had vaccination requirements and or masking requirements. I feel like I went through the whole year with trepidation, because I have not as yet, as far as I know, gotten COVID, knock on wood. And I would really like to keep it that way. So there's always this kind of underlying fear. Fear may be too strong, but it's bordering on fear. Extreme caution, maybe. Pretty much every time I go out to a place that's going to have a lot of people. And so that pretty much was what the year has been for me in that regard.
Yeah, 2022 went to hell in a handbasket for me, basically.
Oh.
And I've been putting out little mini crises all year, so I don't even know what's going on anymore. So I'm looking forward to next year. Hopefully it'll calm down a little bit.
God, I hope so, girl.
Yeah, between Amazon and computer crashes, yeah, it's just like I did no more.
Yeah. I really don't like this decade at all so far. I'm not a fan.
No, I don't think anybody is.
I'm not a fan.
I've definitely learned more of like what's going on in the author world. I did take a big step into starting the whole attending cons and whatnot.
Woo!
And stepping out to be more on like live panels, not just like our panels that we do on here. And that's kind of given me insight into I'm trying to plan out more for next year and stick to like a business plan, whatnot, kind of. So, yeah.
I feel a lot like Anita. This year was a crap show. There was something going wrong at every turn. There was lots of good things, but lots of bad things kept me on my toes. I felt like I was a lot more laid back in my marketing this year, more than I originally would be, because things were just hitting back and forth and back and forth. So I'm really hoping that next year will be a little more to structure the way that I have envisioned it, and not a bunch of U-turns and dead ends, and be able to rise above all the stuff that's happened this year. I did end up getting COVID eventually this year in August. It sucked. Do not recommend. I was triple vaccinated and still got it. So I did cancel a convention because my sister had a baby. So it was just there was lots of good things, but there were lots of stuff happening this year that kind of, like I said, maybe more laid back than I originally would have been, because I'm usually very structured with the way that I do things. But this year was just kind of like, whatever, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to try to get some stuff out there.
Agreed.
How about for you, Freddie?
Well, I ended 2021 and began 2022 with Omicron, and it is what it is. You know, I think just to be a human alive in the 21st century is a gift, and it's an honor. And I don't know what I ever did to deserve to be here. Not trying to get too meta, but you know, last year wasn't good in any sense of the word. Personally, you know, I lost a relative. I fired my previous employer, thinking that I would bounce back and do something similar to what to the 3,000 things that I did before. And 400 applications later, 50 some odd job rejections, a handful of interviews that didn't pan out, 140 some odd voiceover auditions. My second book literally sold 20 something copies, even though the people who did read it enjoyed it and I had fun writing it. And you know, the mistakes were the mistakes, the supply chain issues, the Omicron variant blast that hit the last part of the year really put a damper on in-person events, which sucked. But you know, I'm here and I'm still kicking, and I decided to hire myself. And with as far as my third book, you know, it's a Christmas history. So I boxed myself into a very I boxed myself into a short time span of the year. So it's not like I'm going to go and promote this book in January or spring. There's always next year and subsequent holiday season. But you know, I think the book in and of itself was it's kind of like it's a gift to myself. You know, it's a transformational year, starting new things, and yeah, I'm just going with the punches and seeing what happens and trying to make the most of it, embracing the suck, like the Navy SEALs would say. Suck it up, buttercup. Yep. And enjoy the ride, because you know, we're not guaranteed tomorrow or even next year. I could be out tomorrow morning on a run and get hit by somebody arguing about how bad life is while they're texting and driving. So, you know, I'm here, baby.
I love that too, because I've also had a lot of bad things happen since 2020, really. Like,
yeah.
You know, and I'm finally, it feels like the tail end of this year, the last month or so, I've been finally kind of climbing back out, and like I wasn't writing in any effective, you know, form of the word for a very long time, just because of the incredible pressures that have been on me for the last couple of years. And so the last month or two, I've finally been able to get back into it. And I feel very similar to the way you do, Freddie. Like, I'm so happy that I'm still around, and I'm trying to gear up for next year to be the best I can make it, regardless of what everything else is happening in the world.
All right, let's not jump ahead. We're going to talk about that.
I was talking about my mindset right now, which is, you know, different. I'm not talking about what I'm planning specifically.
Well, and the fact that the six of us are even hearing that we have books that are out, and multiple books, I think puts us in a sliver when you zoom out. I love saying on my show, when you zoom out through the scope of human history, and you look at how books weren't even a thing until just several hundred years ago, and we've been around for hundreds of thousands of years as a species. You know, the six of us, we are in an elite group of people, and we are so lucky. And whether or not we sell books, whether or not people like our books, that's besides the point. I was talking to somebody not too long ago. Edgar Allan Poe only made $200 off of his writing during the course of his lifetime. And the next century, dude's got entire literary societies named after him. He's got conventions named after him. He's required reading in schools.
Awards that are very
Awards?
prestigious.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we don't
Terrible movie adaptations.
terrible movie adaptations. Yes. And yeah, so I think that cannot be understated.
I think that's when you've known you've made it, when you have a terrible movie adaptation about yourself.
I hope
I
Netflix
mean-
makes a terrible movie out of one of my books.
That's a goal. That's
Yeah.
a life goal.
Yes, I agree.
Roger says she's having leftover pizza. As long as it's warm and not cold, I'm
No, cold pizza's awesome.
Oh.
Yeah, what's wrong with cold pizza, Joe?
I have to be in the mood for
No.
cold pizza to like just eat it.
Oh, I could just grab it out the fridge and just put it in my face.
Oh,
I
no
did
one's
not
Reddit
recognize
and
Burnout for
try
a
it.
long time, and then Vanessa had to win.
I had cookies for breakfast. It's
With
true.
cookies.
Nice.
Nice.
Because
What
I'm an
kind of cookies
adult,
were they?
damn it.
What kind of cookies were they?
Homemade. The ones I had a toffee. I had a couple toffee ones. It was from the little event we had last night.
See, she knows what's up. That's perfect. Sorry.
Y'all are weird with your warm leftover pizza.
Now, for all those who eat the cold one, the cold version, do you leave it on the counter or do you put it in the fridge?
Oh no, you put it in the
In the
fridge.
fridge.
Okay, good.
Dude, it's got a bajillion pieces,
Yeah, it's got
amounts of
cheese.
Yeah.
Cheese sauce on it. You don't leave it on the counter.
You don't leave it on the
It gets
counter.
tossed out of my
Believe me, I've
house if
seen
it's
it,
left
and
on the
it's
stove.
disgusting.
I would not eat it on the counter. I wouldn't leave it on the counter. That's gross.
All right. So going through 2022, what do you feel like has been something you set a goal for and that you achieved this year? What has been a goal you have achieved this year and it could be something you didn't set a goal for that you didn't expect, but that sounds like Vanessa finally got back to writing. That might be something that, but is there something that you guys,
That was more a hope than a goal.
nice. But yeah, is there something that you guys all achieved this year that you didn't expect to have happen to you this year?
Well, getting my Roses and Ashes poetry book published, that was an
Woo!
achievement for me. Because that was a personal project, and I honestly was very unsure about publishing it for a while. So actually doing it was an achievement.
Yes. Awesome.
Which that is a very good poetry book. I have to admit, I read it recently. I actually, for me, picked up better marketing strategies, which was not something I had planned to do this year. I was going to focus more on writing, and I didn't quite get as much writing in as I had wanted to originally, but I still had stuff coming out, and I have a lot already done for next year because that's just how everything fell. So
I'm just going to apologize and say it's all my fault.
no, it's not.
I'll piggyback on what. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go, Freddie.
I was just gonna say I'll piggyback on what Madeline says. I think the marketing. I think it's always an ever changing kind of thing, but with this book in particular, I feel like things went right, and so I muscled through the editing process and got it to Tuscany Bay and so I think with the branding and marketing thing, being on podcasts like this and I'm hoping to get some TV, I'm pitching some shows, but just doing all of the right things instead of one of the right things, or doing all the right things without enough time to let the pre-order phase breathe. So these were mistakes that I made with the previous two. And now I feel like, okay, you got the 6-month pre-sale. You're doing not just the publicity, but also the publicity and the marketing and the branding and trying not being afraid to try some new forms of advertising as opposed to social media, where I feel like even if you spend a little bit more than you normally would, I still feel like social media, and please, if anyone disagrees, let me know. I just feel like even if you spend more than a couple hundred or a few $100 or even 1,000, dare I say, I still feel like you're throwing your money into you're leaving it up to the whims of the algorithmic gods.
Yes,
So,
for sure.
Yes, it's like a money pit.
yeah.
Yeah.
My goal for this year was to con Joe into letting me have my own show, and it worked. Huzzah!
Boy, that took some arm twisting.
Yeah, it did.
How about for you, Courtney?
I didn't have any set goals as far as changing what I was doing because I already have a very set way that I market, and it's been increasingly doing better each year. Like where I would sell maybe 200 books a couple years ago, this next book that we just put out has sold almost 700 copies in 2 weeks. So we're doing well with that. But I am a very slow writer, and it's because I am a discovery writer. I do not plot. And so what I discovered this year was that I could kind of try to be somewhere in between, be more of a plancer and write out some summaries and things. And it really helped me be able to get more words on the page, which was a real struggle for me. Because I could some people can sit down and they can write 10,000 words a day. And I struggled to get 200 or 300, especially a few years ago. I sit there and I stare at it and I don't know what's coming next. So I just go back and edit. And it was a real problem for me getting anything done. So when I went to do my submission for Incantation this year, I was like, no, I have a really strict deadline. I need to get this done. I'm going to try, because I've read all the plotting books. I've tried different programs. I'm going to just try this method, writing down, what I think should happen, just kind of throwing in this big mix of stuff and then trying to arrange it. And eventually I was like, I wrote a story that was about, I can't remember how exactly, I think it's 12,000 long in just a week. And that was really not typical for me. So that was something that helped me a lot. And I really didn't expect to do this year, but I just kind of was like, no, this has to be done. And I have to be in this because I really enjoyed the project. And I was like, I'm just going to make myself do this. And it helped a lot. And I'm really glad that I did it.
I had the same experience when I first, I had the same thing. Like I was a very slow writer because I was a dyed-in-the-wool pantser. I was a slow writer because of what you do when you're a discovery writer, right? You just go in whatever direction and then you don't know where you're going, and then that can freeze you up. I had the same thing. So I pretty much, like several years ago, did exactly what you did. I've just been testing different things. And if you haven't, I actually keep this right by my desk. If you haven't tried this book,
I have that one. I have read so many books.
Yeah, but I love this one. This one completely worked with the way my brain works.
Here, put it up again, Vanessa.
Oh, sorry. Hang on.
Sorry.
It's Take Off Your Pants by Libby Hawker.
I love that.
Yes, I know, right? Outline your books faster, better. Outline your books for faster, better writing. So it's not about plotting; it's about outlining, which is not the same.
So along the lines of what Vanessa just held up, which is called the book, I have read more books this year than I've read in probably the last 10 years. That's been my accomplishment this year. And for me personally, I'm going to do something personally. And that is, as of next week, I will have crossed 3 million steps that I walked this year.
Wow.
Very nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm real excited about that. The chat wants to share their accomplishments, and Karina says I was hoping to get In Times of Violence out. It didn't happen. Yeah, but you had a couple books come out this year. You had a couple of the Motorcycle Club books come out, and
also she wasn't even working on it though, and that's what's important. That she, like Karina, you got back to working on it, and that's the important part. It'll come.
And then she says, hey, fans have only waited 20 years. What's one more? It won't matter. I used Libby's books for my latest outline experiment. Margaret loves it. And she said, I get edits back in 3 days, so we'll see how it went. Nice. Awesome, Margaret. Yeah, you'll have to let us know. Come on and tell us all about it. So now 2022 is kind of behind us and looking at it. And there was a couple things that I looked at in terms of, and I sent you guys an article. Did I send you an article? I think I did. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't think I did. Never mind. Strike that from the record. All right. But
just go cold turkey. Mention the headline and let's riff. Why not? Why the hell not?
I'm down.
But there was a couple things that I mean, there's a lot of things that happened in our world this year. That in our publishing world, I'm not talking about our world. There's a lot of things that happened in our world, but in the publishing world, a lot of things happened. We almost went from 5 to 4 in the bigs, and that got kiboshed, and it's still probably going to stay kiboshed, but who knows? Lawyers get involved.
There was an update on that.
Oh, was there? Go.
Yeah. The
breaking news, everybody.
It's pretty much kiboshed because I think Penguin Random House withdrew their, or no, Paramount withdrew their offer for Simon Schuster. That's what it was. And so they're not interested anymore. Simon Schuster may still shop it around to someone else, but as far as the Penguin Random House Simon and Schuster merger, it is dead.
Now, if a Republican gets in office, we'll see how that changes. But I think they just feel like it's a lost cause at this point. But they got pretty beat up in that process. But they did a lot of that to themselves. But that's another topic for another day. But so that happened. We started the year off with Smashwords and Drafted Digital joining forces, and we're now a year into that, and no comment.
Things will be happening next year, apparently, according to Drafted Digital.
Well, I'm not going to hold my breath.
Their latest Q&A, things will be happening next year.
And then there's just, and then AI came about, and that's become a big thing. So so all that being said, I'm curious, is there something out there that you're looking at that might be the next big thing or the next thing to try that you're looking at going for that you haven't done before, even if it is already been out there? Like if you haven't done audiobooks before and you want to do audiobooks, something to that effect. But is there something that you all are looking at that you're going to try in 2023 that you're planning for?
Well, I've been dabbling in the AI over on Canva.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Actually the Canva AI isn't too bad. I mean, you do get figures with 3 legs.
That's okay for what we write.
But I mean, I can fix most of the wonkiness in Photoshop, so for me it's pretty fun. I mean, I did some graphic stuff for my upcoming fairy tale book, just for promotional pictures. I mean, it's not going to be covers or illustrations or anything, just promotional graphics, and quite a few of them came out pretty good. I mean, and some of them came out really pretty. So I mean, AI is fun. It's still limited, I think, but it's useful for some things.
Nice. I do have something that I'm going to try. If you guys need some time to think about it, but I think I'm going to look into Mastodon and see how. I've been dabbling with it a little bit. I looked at it the other day, and because I just think Twitter's such a shit show right now, and I don't know. It's not. I find it more like Discord than I do Twitter. But the interesting thing is now that they're starting to put groups together. There's now an indie author group in there. There's indie creator groups, and so maybe getting on the ground floor of that might be something that Go Indie Now can benefit from or look at for the future. So I am looking at that. I am playing with it. I'm gonna mess around, and I promise every single person here. We'll do that at the end. I'll do that at the end. But I have something to promise everybody. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I think that's an interesting. I'm looking at alternatives for social medias because I think right now the saturation of social media is it's just being washed away. I think there's just it's just generic right now. I mean, we all have our favorites and we stay comfort level wise with those favorites, but I mean, I look at as Freddie mentioned, the algorithms and things like that. It's just they're constantly evolving because they're trying to keep it fresh, and the more they mess with stuff, the more they screw it up. And it just seems like whenever you get traction, you become it becomes like being stuck in the mud in Alabama. The tires just spin and spin and spin.
Yeah.
Along those
Okay,
lines,
Vinny.
along those lines, I'm actually on Counter Social. And there's no algorithm.
Mm.
You use hashtags for stuff, and it shows up in the hashtag. In like you can, it's got columns the way TweetDeck does,
Hmm.
and you can then filter. You've got the fire hose, which is everything that happens. Regardless, it's everything. And then you've got your friends list, but then you can create your own columns that include or exclude hashtags.
Hmm.
So you can really curate your feed. And there's absolutely a growing just a growing author community there. I've been there for a few months now, maybe 4 or 5 months. And it's so much nicer. Like it is like there's very little there are very few trolls. There are no bots. It's just actual people.
Mm.
Yeah, the big social medias are leaning more and more into the paid models too.
Yeah.
And Facebook's trying to get its own direct shopping channel. Pinterest is converting itself into a shopping network. I mean, it just doesn't pay to be on them anymore unless you
I,
bet the
I
bucks.
played around with Facebook's attempt at being a TV network yesterday a little bit, which I found very, very confusing and very, very difficult to put together. I did one show yesterday and it took me like 6 hours. It was
Wow.
insane, and I'm pretty savvy about that stuff. So just to give everybody a heads up on that, but it's interesting what they're trying to do. But I like the idea. I just think sometimes I like a lot of the ideas that happen
Yeah,
on social media, but the execution is very, very poor
So
usually.
bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what sums it up. They have good ideas, bad follow through.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
they don't pay attention to how their users use the platform.
Yep.
Yeah,
They try and tailor it to their algorithms or their stats or their whatever instead of actually looking at how people are using the
they don't
platform.
celebrate their successes. They celebrate they're trying to create more successes on top of the successes they already have by catering to the lowest common denominator, and they don't do it very well because they're all engineers, so they don't speak, uh for the
People,
lack of a better term, dumb person talk, so
It's almost
it's
as if
all
they're bored.
yeah, that
They
could
Yeah.
be
just need
too.
something to do. I mean, you're talking about engineers again who don't speak to the lowest common denominator. So it's like, well, what are we gonna do to entertain ourselves, guys? So,
yeah, we'll
yeah,
create this. Oh, well, it doesn't matter if people won't know how to use it. It's fun.
Yeah, we're not gonna put out a user guide. Just figure it out too. That's
yeah.
the other thing. I went through oh my god, their help.
Oh
Facebook
God.
help is the worst, by the way.
Y-
Going through
Yeah.
Facebook help is like they send you to 3 different articles that have 4 different things, and then you have to find the
And,
thing you're looking for, and then you go to another article.
and none of them have what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
Because
then they
none of
want
them
you to
have been
rate the article.
updated. None of them have been updated to the latest version.
Yes.
right. Yeah,
They're
that's
like 3 versions back.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out the how to edit a scheduled post on my Facebook page through their Meta Business whatever shit show that they've got. And I went to the help section and yeah, they told me how to do it and none of that was actually on the page at all. Because apparently you cannot do it through the schedule tweet. You have to go into their planner to do it.
Yeah, and Margaret says they don't speak empathy either. Yeah, that's very good, very true. And AL, hello, Mr. Mangle. How nice to see you. Facebook has help concierge, which is very easy. However, the page needs a marketing budget with followers thresholds. Yeah, yeah. Um, and then Margaret mentioned that I'm with Freddie. I need to get over the allergy to advertising and leave the addiction to social media that doesn't pay. There's something to be said for that for sure.
Yeah.
And then Mylan says she's working on that. And then Meta is the Matrix. You can't tell me otherwise.
We're not even lying.
Shit show indeed, yes. And Vanessa mentioned what she just said, so in the chat. So I'm curious from the marketing guru herself what we should be concentrating on, because
Yes,
I'm sure
I've
you're
been
looking at a
waiting.
couple platforms.
I'm not actually looking at any other platforms, because right now there are so many that are popping up to take the place of Twitter and Instagram and other places, that there's not a clear platform that's going to be ahead. So right now I'm on Mastodon. I'm not using it. I've just got my name over there. If I've got a promotion, maybe I'll post it on there. But right now, TikTok still, I think, the best for me, for my marketing, for my genre. I write YA fantasy most of the time. That is where my people are. So you always want to go where your people are, but you also want to, be comfortable on the platform that you're on. But you need to follow the readers, so the readers will interact with you. So my plans for this year, or for this coming year, is to be more consistent on TikTok, to study more the way that their algorithm works and how to become viral on there, and to get more people to click through to my bio and, get to my other links. So I'm more concentrating on that this year. I've got a schedule already set up for video, with video ideas I'm going to do and series that I'm going to do, so I can concentrate more on that, but batch film them. So because I have no time. I have children. I have all the stuff I do with Fiction Atlas. I've got my anthologies coming out. I teach at a co-op now, so I'll be teaching creative writing, and I already do book club there. So it's all the time there's something that's constraining my time. So I need to be able to have a plan, execute the plan, and then forget the plan. No, that's just the TikTok trend. But I need some structure there. So I'm going to be focusing on that, and we'll see who comes out on top. I do not spend much money on social media. Social media is about connecting with people. It's not really where I want to spend my money. I want to connect with people genuinely, and then those people will market for me. That's how I've kind of structured everything. I don't put money into ads except for a few newsletter ads on release week. So I inspire people to, want to share my content because they enjoy it and because they want other people to enjoy it too. And that has worked really well for me, instead of pouring lots of money into social media.
How many times do you post on TikTok a week?
I don't post much enough. You're supposed to post at least 2 times a day, but that's just too much for me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I found something that that was kind of insightful about TikTok, which I will share. But something else that CL Cannon does for us quite a bit and quite often, and something that I demand of her time, and she's so gracious with it. It's the Indie Connection, everybody. And I mentioned that I'm going to say something that I've never said before on this show, and it has to do with this particular video. So watch it, and then I'll be back to say it, and then we'll talk more about video and TikTok, because I think that's fascinating.
Hey guys, CL Cannon here from Fiction Atlas Press, bringing you another Indie Connection. Today I'd like to tell you about some indie books that you might enjoy if you're a fan of Dash and Lily's Book of Dares by David Leviathan and Rachel Kahn. I love this book. I am really excited to bring you some indies that have some similar books to this.
The first book I have for you is called All I Want for Christmas is the Girl in Charge by Chelsea Bobalski. It's the holiday season in this young adult contemporary romance, and all Beckett Hawthorne wants is to make his way across the country and try to find some semblance of a life that looks nothing like his past, until he meets Evelyn Waverly. Evelyn Waverly, Christmas High's senior class president, volunteer at every Christmas charity drive, and basic overachiever, has a problem. She's co-directing and starring in her dream role as Elizabeth Bennet in her high school's production of A Pride and Prejudice Christmas. But Greg Bailey, the boy who's supposed to play Darcy, broke his leg. Enter Beckett Hawthorne, Aunt Bee's nephew, former child prodigy, and recent juvenile delinquent. Beckett has arrived in Christmas, Virginia to spend his community service hours working at his uncle's Christmas tree farm, as well as to get away from his heroin-addicted mother and abusive stepfather. Of course, Beckett doesn't have any interest in the role of Darcy either. But when he mistakenly mentions the play to his social worker, she presses him to do it. He agrees to play Darcy, not expecting Evelyn's joyful attitude about life and all things Christmas to melt the permafrost that has formed around his heart. Soon he finds himself imagining a very different kind of future, one that is filled with the sort of things he always thought were too good for him: hope, love, family. And he has Evelyn to thank for it. The second book I have for you is called Christmas as We Know It by Sarah Sutton. Christmas as I know it is blown away with the winter wind when my mom drops a bomb the size of the Rockefeller tree. We're going to Florida for winter break, aka the land of no snow. And since this is the last Christmas season of my high school career, my last chance to spend the holidays with my friends before we all go off to college, the news is anything but merry and bright. There is one silver lining, though. Bentley, the sweet and kind guy I've been crushing on for years, is in my volunteer group for the annual Winter Fest. And did I mention his love for Christmas just might rival my own? Even though I'll be missing out on the Winter Festival, being paired with Bentley almost makes it worth it. Until something happens with Jason, my best friend since elementary school. Something that may or may not involve an almost kiss. Jason's the opposite of jolly. The Grinch to my Mrs. Claus, and though every year I have to drag him along for the Yuletide ride, this December he's grumpier than ever about the holidays. But the closer I get to Bentley, and the more it looks like Jason and his ex are getting back together, the more unsure I am about who I want to ring in the new year with. Maybe all I need is the magic of a mistletoe kiss to make up my mind. Or better yet, a Christmas miracle. The third book I have for you is called The Christmas Clash by Suzanne Park. Who's naughty and nice at Riverwood Mall? In this hilarious YA holiday rom-com, two rivals get together to save their families' livelihoods, and Christmas too. Chloe Kwan can't stand Peter Lee. It's always been that way. Their families don't get along either. Their parents operate rival restaurants in the Riverwood Mall food court. Korean food for the Kwans and Chinese food for the Lees. Now it's the holiday season, and Chloe's the cartographer at the mall's Santa's Village, and Peter works at the virtual reality North Pole Experience right across the atrium. It's all Chloe can do to avoid Peter's smug, incredibly photogenic face. But it turns out the mall is about to be sold to a developer and demolished for condos. Eviction notices are being handed out right before Christmas. Their parents don't know what to do, and soon Chloe and Peter realize that the two of them need to join efforts to try to save the mall. Just when it seems like they can put aside their differences and work closely, very closely, together, they discover that the Kwan and Lee feud goes far deeper than either of them realize. And the last book I have for you is called The Trouble with Christmas by Robin Daniels. Chrissy Jensen lives in a town full of Christmas fanatics. Too bad she hates everything about the holiday. Aside from her justifiable grievances, the endless barrage of displays and events is enough to make any girl gag. Nothing has ever been able to thaw her frozen Yuletide heart. But when her brother brings a handsome friend home for the holiday, she starts to reconsider her contemptuous attitude. The deliciously yummy houseguest loves Christmas. Pretending to share his sentiment couldn't hurt, right? Wrong. The sudden personality transplant doesn't sit well with her best friend Nate. He perpetuates the deception in order to get even, which causes an agonizing dilemma. Now, Chrissy must keep up the charade with a cheerful disposition, or risk being caught in her lie.
Okay, that's all for me this week. I'll see you next week on The Indie Connection. Bye.
All right. Thank you to CL Cam for another wonderful indie connection. And I mentioned that I'm going to do something I've never done before. And that is, imagine this. You're in your favorite bookstore scanning the shelves. You get to the section where a favorite author's books reside. And there, nestled in the comfortably between incredibly familiar spines sits a red notebook. What do you do? The choice, I think, is obvious. You take down the red notebook and open it, and you do whatever it tells you. That opening got me to buy this book. I have bought a traditional book from the Indie Connection, and then because I trust CL Cannon so much. I bought every single book that was on this Indie Connection. I've never done that before. I've never even read anything from any book that CL Cannon had put out there. This book looks amazing, and I can't wait to dive more into it. But I read the first like 10%, and I was like blown away by it.
It's addicting. I read it years ago and loved it. Straight up loved it. So I totally want to buy all the books on this one too.
They have, I think there are 2 other books in the series, and there's a Netflix show, which is what got me watching it, was the Netflix show. And I was like,
watched
that's so
the
good.
Netflix show. It was really good. It wasn't exactly like per the book, but it was still really good.
Was it better?
Title?
It wasn't better, I would say, but it was good on its own.
I also discovered in doing the research about this couple that are these co-authors that they were also the minds behind Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, which is a fantastic movie. If you have not seen that movie, I would highly recommend it. But this is not my genre, so I was really blown away by how well this was written. It just is so. It just grabbed me right away. I think that opening is fantastic, and I think one of the reasons I wanted to point it out is because I think as indies we pay attention to the opening of our books a lot, but I think what keeps me going is that intrigued me enough to keep reading forward. And what happens within the first 5 pages of this book, it's amazing how quickly they jumped right into the story and got you in it. And that, I think, is a life lesson that we should all adhere to very, 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 very much, because I think it shows you, I mean, even traditional books can get it right sometimes. Yeah, Broken Clock's right twice a day. But but it just shows you when you have good writing and you can forward a story, how important the story becomes and how much you'll gravitate toward it because of that. And I think so. Just keep that in mind, all you. I know I've got a lot of fantasy folks out here, and a lot of people like to pontificate, and they like to info dump, and they try to be clever about how they info dump nowadays too, and all of that. Just keep that in mind. Story is prevalent, and that for me to have bought a book out of my genre comfort zone, out of something that I normally wouldn't patronize. I would have never seen this book without CL Cannon. So CL Cannon is certainly the reason why I did this, because I watched the show and then I looked at the book. I always look at all the books for anybody who doesn't know. Even if I'm not hosting, I always look at them. And so that I just thought I'd share that with everyone.
I hope you love it, Joe.
I think it's really important to read outside our genres, though. I think it's really important because every genre has their strengths. Like if you want to learn how to write a really good emotional scene, read some romance, because that's basically like the bread and butter of romance. If you want to learn how to write an action scene, read action adventure or thrillers. Like each genre has a strength to it. So I think it's super important to not just pigeonhole ourselves in the genres that we already actively like, but definitely take some time every year to read the big books outside your genre, because you're going to learn something.
And
I jumped into women's fiction about 2 years ago, and I was like, wow, why didn't I ever try this genre out? I've learned so much about how I'm the problem, but no, I'm just kidding.
Well, of course you are. Come on now, Joe.
No, actually, it's the quite opposite, but which I was very fascinated by. But it's very. I agree wholeheartedly with you. So
I just wanted to add.
Oh
no worries. Adding to what Vanessa said about reading outside your genre, I bought Jennifer Probst, who is huge in the romance community, has a fantastic craft writing book called Write Naked, and she takes this a step further. So, if you are what do you call it? The raunchy stuff. If you write raunchy, erotica. There you go. Sorry, mind slip. As you can tell, I don't read erotica. Just 50 Shades. Just kidding. But if you write erotica, read sweet romance. And if you write sweet romance, read erotica, and you'll learn, you know, the dynamics of conflict and whatnot. So it's reading outside your genre so you can learn different tips and techniques, but also reading something you are completely uncomfortable with.
Mm-hmm. I think that can be also applied to every genre, because if you write urban fantasy, read epic fantasy, because, you know, you're going to learn more about descriptors and how to write, you know, really big and elaborate scenes or plot lines and stuff like that. I think you can do that in any genre, you know, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be stuff you're uncomfortable with, but just stuff you're unfamiliar with.
Mm-hmm.
I love that idea too, by the way.
So yeah, getting back to the chat to hear that videos and reels where messages can be delivered in seconds, and AL is agreeing with you on TikTok, I believe, Courtney, and Margaret says, "Ooh, teaching at a co-op, it sounds so cool." There are 228,000 on Mastodon at the moment. Love that book. 228,000 is nothing in the scope of social media, by the way.
Right.
That's like going now following. Mastodon, which server are you all on? It's confusing. I'm checking out anything that says indie. That's what I've been looking at. And it is confusing to get started, but once you get started, you go down the rabbit hole pretty quickly. That's what I found with Mastodon. Which is what I found with Discord, and then Discord, you know, I think Discord's a little antiquated. So
I love Discord. Shut up.
Yeah. don't be mean to Discord. Discord is fun.
Shut up.
You can lurk on Discord and see everybody else's conversation. I love it.
I do more lurking than conversing on that. So
yeah. Well, no, I just joined a really nice one, fantasy book Twitter. All the fantasy authors from Twitter.
Nice.
Virginia McLean created a Discord servers for all the fantasy authors that she knows on Twitter. So
nice. I love that.
yeah.
Oh, you know, speaking, Joe, of you mentioned Go Indie Now numbers. Do you realize you are 4 subscribers away from 1,000?
Yes,
I noticed that. I don't know if y'all noticed that.
So if you haven't subscribe, people.
Subscribe. Mash the subscribe
button. Tell your friends over
hit
to
the like
subscribe.
button. We need you.
Yeah.
And make it a point to read outside my genre. I crave something different than I write. I did my first paranormal shifter story, totally out of my genre. And Karina was
that was for me calling erotica smut.
Yeah. I've got to quit calling it smut because
I like calling it smut.
People are like, what are you talking about? Especially if they're not in the book world, they don't know what it is.
But it almost always makes people laugh. Like, I find, you know, and like if you say erotica, that can sometimes make people go, But if I say smut, they'll be like, what? And I'll be like, yeah, you know, smut, ha ha ha. And they're like, okay, ha ha ha. And then they're, you know, anyway. I
wish I could remember the video creator's name, Courtney, but I watched this TikTok that came on my For You page just the other day, and it made total sense to me. Like a light bulb went off for me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if anybody else who's on TikTok has found this, but I went back through my videos to see if what this person said was true. And what they mentioned was that all of the videos that they craft, all the things that they do to work really hard, that they spend a lot of time on with bells and whistles and all that they put out there, do nothing. But when they just get on and say, you know, when they just get on and sneeze, basically, those go through the roof.
I've heard that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's their face. Like the face, I don't know, for some reason flags everything and it gets through the algorithms better versus like page flips. For some authors that works, but like mine's like that. If I don't have my face on there, it doesn't get as many views. And I'm like, really? Like, I don't want to do this all the time with my face.
But I heard like it when they set up things like, you know, the skits where it's, you know, back and forth. So it takes a lot of, you know, post-production stuff, that so oftentimes, I mean, sometimes those obviously take off, but I heard the same thing, Joe, where, if they just get on and just start talking like they were in line to go vote, or they were, they went to the grocery store or whatever, like those are the ones that take off. It's insane. There's no telling. There's really no telling.
It gives me hope, actually, because the one thing about TikTok that I really despise is I video edit every day, all day
Right.
long, as everybody here already knows.
Mhm.
And to spend another 3.5 hours putting out one minute video because I am meticulous with my editing and I want to put all the bells and whistles in there. If I can just get on my phone and say hello, and and then connect with people that way. Look, I'm not about numbers. I don't care about any of that. I just like to connect. I just like having that connection with people. And so for me, that's TikTok's the fun place. So I'm just going to concentrate on doing that and see how it goes, and I'll let everybody know how it goes. But I was like, oh, if that's the case, that's good. You guys just opened Pandora's box for Joe Compton. You have no idea. So that's how I look at it. But anyway, so I just found that fascinating. And I look back at my videos, and for the most part, that's true. I do have a lot of them that I've created, like where I've used. I think the key is using what TikTok gives you, as opposed to going outside of the box from TikTok. If you use the music and the effects that they use, that they give you to use, you do a lot better. And I think that's by design, because TikTok wants you to use their stuff because they pay a lot of money for that. So I think if I was to add one tip to that aspect of it, I would say, if you're going to put music behind it and put effects behind it, use the stuff that TikTok gives you. Don't try and go above and beyond TikTok, because I think TikTok will stamp you down a little bit if you do that, because hey, they paid a lot of money for that little strobe light effect. Use the strobe light effect. Although I will say people use it in exhaustedness, in a very exhausted way. I think there's a lot of, I see the same thing over. Once something like catches fire, I see the same thing over and over again and over and over again. Right now I'm seeing everybody's creating the Canva painting memes right now. I'm seeing a lot of those on my feed, and I'm like, okay. Let me swipe. I just keep going. But
I'm wondering, out of anybody who's had some success from TikTok, whether you're on the panel or if you're watching, regarding the use of which songs to put in your videos. I've got an app that it's called Trend Talk, and so it breaks down by genre, like, so are you a writer? Are you a musician? Are you blah, 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 blah? And then, so it breaks down, this particular app breaks down the songs that are popular for people like you. So does it matter what songs you use when you choose a song? Obviously, you would want to, if you're writing fantasy, you're not going to want to use, I don't know, a heavy metal song or a rap song. But are you very, I guess, on a scale of 1 to 10, just how deliberate are you when picking the music behind your, hi guys, it's my book and here you go, read it, or you suck? Anybody?
I don't do a lot of hi guys, here's my book, because that's more marketing.
Yeah.
And the more that you market to people, the less they want to see you. So you want to hook them and get them to your link in bio or your website, if that's what you've got in your bio. You want to intrigue them. You want to show your book, but you don't want to be posting a lot of buy my book posts. And that's true of any social media. When I'm choosing my videos, my music, sorry, my brain just died. When I'm choosing my music, I usually use something that is trending, but I also don't, there's a big debate about whether you should use commercial music for selling your books. I don't personally believe that you should, because it's copyrighted and I wouldn't want someone to still make profit off of my work. So usually I will find some sound that is in the free library. But the whole thing with TikTok is finding a way to grip someone. It's a hook, just like the first few lines of the book, like Joe was talking about. If you can hook them within the first 2 to 3 seconds and get them to watch, because watch time is really important on TikTok, If you can get them to watch your video all the way through, then it's going to be shown to more people on the FYP. And there's tons of people, myself included, that don't even watch their followers' videos. They just watch the FYP. So getting there is the main thing that you want to do. You can look at trending sounds and try to get people in with videos that are not related to your book, so they'll look at your other videos. That's kind of how I do it, so I don't have to worry about the copyright issues. But I'm sure other people have other opinions about this, so I'll let them talk.
There's a lot in the chat. A.L. Mangle says that Instagram Reels and TikTok videos do not need professional production values. They need real, which brings the connection. Work with the platform. Exactly, A.L. Use what's trending and what matches the book I'm using. I stay away from trending music. I use what speaks to me and works with my branding. My reels are tiny little art projects, and then actually heavy metal is perfect for fantasy. And then I agree, CL, the sales funnel is hidden. I will say one thing about TikTok that I dislike, and that is the idea that I can't find what I'm looking for a lot of times. Whenever I'm looking for something, it is the hardest app to find something that I'm looking for on it. Even within the people I follow, it's very difficult. So get on that TikTok, fix that right now. But because I get to a point where I like when I first got on it, I was spending 2 or 3 hours just scanning stuff. Now I get to the point where I'm like looking for the 5 minutes that I need from what I get from TikTok, and so I've narrowed my scope a little bit, and that's helped. But it's difficult to find that stuff sometimes. I have to swipe through a lot of crap. My thumbs are getting a good workout from TikTok. So anyway, I know nobody wanted to hear any of that.
I did.
The Reels platform is somewhat random based on activity and interests. Yeah. So, but I was just kind of fascinated by that because I thought, in this day and age, I put a lot of pride behind what I do and how I do it. And, and I don't stress about who sees it or doesn't see it. That's just not my thing. But I do like people to see it. And so I do, because I do put a lot of effort into it. And so that was the most discouraging thing to me about TikTok, was when I was putting a lot of effort into stuff and not getting anything from it. And I don't have that many followers or doing, because I haven't really just tried to blitz anybody or go after it. And I'm sure I could if I wanted to, but I don't find it. I don't use it for that purpose. So, but I do post Go Indie Now stuff on there, and if I ever write anything again, I'll post Joe stuff on there. But
I feel like you should be writing a novella right now. Is what I feel.
Stop.
Your ass.
Yeah, for people who don't know, Vanessa and I have a little friendly competition going. So
I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm close.
Anyway, that being said, but yeah, so I was just fascinated by that, and it's like, if I can, because like I do get on my phone and think about random things from time to time, especially I get and I'm going, would that be interesting on TikTok? Probably not. It's just me talking, so nobody wants to hear that. So I just don't do it, and I think I'm gonna prey on that instinct now. So.
I don't think you're a good judge of what people want to see and hear. Honestly, I mean, I don't think any of us are. Like, I think that we don't know, like, everybody's interested in what they're interested in, and we may be that thing for them, So it doesn't hurt to toss it out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Although
so.
My Facebook reaches between 500 and 900, engagement is up 40%. I have been focusing on Reels on Instagram, which has been growing that account organically. There you go. Nice. That's awesome. So
I would just add, I'm sorry, Joe, I would just add that for you to not cut yourself short, because late on Friday night, I saw a TikTok video of a lady taking an entire bag of Doritos, popping a pound of ground beef, taco seasoning, 2 eggs into boiling water.
Ew.
And rolling up the bag and declaring after it was finished, pulling it out, and half the meat uncooked still, declaring it the best meal that you would ever have.
Ugh.
So I would just say, please don't cut yourself short and make judgments about what you put on TikTok. For the love of God, don't.
And I bet you that video has like 1 million views.
Yes.
Because it's
Yes.
horrible.
It's like, what the hell is wrong with you people? Anyways,
Yeah.
sorry, I was projecting.
No, that's all good. I love that. Yeah. But most of these videos are nonsense.
I think this goes back to what we were talking about, that when they're just like stupid and ridiculous, that's when they take off.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I follow a lot of chefs that make fun of people's and the way they make stuff. So I've probably seen that video. I just don't remember it because I blocked it out of my memory. Be ridiculous and you'll get views. Yeah, I mean that's not what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in views. I'm just interested in engagement and having fun. You know, I find the coolest thing about TikTok is it's just fun. You know, I just like to have fun. You know, I'm not short on words, and anybody here probably would back me up on that. So yeah, I mean, other than putting it on a page, that's when I'm short on words. But otherwise, you know, I can talk and talk and talk. But anyway, enough of me yapping. So I like to do this, and I won't hold you to it because I'm not holding whoever did 2022's version of this to account. But I want to have from every single person here a prediction for 2023. And it doesn't have to be about you. It could be about something ridiculous or something amazing or something out there. And I'll start so that you all can think about it. But my prediction for 2023 is that I believe that the backlash about movie theaters not carrying indie films, and that indie film has been dying in the movie theaters, will change in 2023. I believe that we're headed toward an independent film renaissance, and I think, and by the end of 2023, there will be more independent films in your 20plex than there are Marvel movies.
Wow, that's a very bold prediction.
Yes, it is.
I'd like to know, Joe, what made you arrive to that decision? Is it because of the rise in indie authors and indie music? Although I'm not very versed in the indie music world, I don't know much about it. But do you think it's because there is such a, for lack of better terms, decentralization, people realizing that, hey, I can choose myself and try, instead of trying to pitch a Hollywood agent for my entire life?
I think what's going on right now is that people, the way that Marvel has structured their output, I think a lot of people were very satisfied, or at least very comforted by how they did the final phase of Robert Downey Jr.'s tenure and Chris Evans' tenure, and they've all moved on. And I think with them moving on, we've kind of all moved on. And I think they're trying to milk the well. You know, they're trying to get that last bit of water out of it, and it's not going off over the way they hope it will, because most people who engage in that content are engaging on it on media platforms that are streaming. And so I believe that the movie theaters, if you look at your movie theater right now, I bet you if you pulled up your local movie theater, there's probably 2 or 3 movies in there, and that's it, of the 20 plexes, because they're showing multiple screenings of the same movie, trying to get their money back right now. I guarantee you in 2 weeks there will be a movie theater out there that has there'll be a 20plex that has 18 different screenings of Avatar on it, and everything else will be gone. Literally, there'll be 18 opportunities for you to see Avatar, because they're trying to make their money back right away. And what I think is going to happen is that people are going to get tired of that. People are clamoring for story right now. We're all. I think these last 2 years we've all been through so much, and we're just trying to, we were trying to weather the storm. We were trying to get back into our own emotional states and everything. But I think now that people are starting to find their footing again, that the one thing that we can all really gravitate toward is story. And I think that with indie film, you get story. And I think that, you know, I just think that we need some good story out there. And I think that that's where it's going to come from. And I think that people are going to go to the movies and discover a movie much like they did 10 years ago that nobody's heard of, that everybody's going to talk about. And then that's going to start a storm. And I think, much like the Blair Witch Project did, movies like that, Reservoir Dogs, these are movies that captured the imagination through a film festival and then got theater released very quietly. And then somebody saw it, told their friend about it, and then somebody told their friend about it. And then all of a sudden it blew up. And I think that's going to happen with indie film as well. Because I think the one thing about going in on streaming platforms and finding indie films is you have to search for them. Amazon doesn't publicize that on their Prime Video accounts unless it's made by Amazon Studios, because the studios pay for that advertising spot. Mm-hmm. So they want you to see Top Gun Maverick 15 times. They don't want you to see everything at once, all at once. They'll bury that, even though that's one of the more popular indies out there. They'll bury that film because the studio didn't pay for them to advertise that. So you have to find it out there. And I think for streaming networks, even though that is a viable way for indies to make their money and go out there, that's when I think we all want to go out and get out of our house and get away. And I think that's one way we're going to do it. And I think that people will invest in that. So That's how I feel.
I have hope for that too. Elizabeth Olsen is actually going into more indie stuff too. And she's got like a lot of stuff in WandaVision and everything. So that, yeah, I could totally see that. My prediction for the next year is kind of more for my like brand. I have a goal to get out 6 different books, and hopefully get myself out there some more by attending cons and just like building relationships with more people. So,
well, I think that's one prediction that's going to happen. So there you go.
I'm going to make it happen.
There you go. All right, you're all gonna do it. So you might as well just get it over with. Pull the Band-Aid.
I'll do it. I've got a very safe prediction that I feel must happen because it happens every year. I have a prediction for 2023 that Amazon will screw us over at least once per quarter.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I thought you were going to say the death of Snapchat. But
I wish, but no.
Okay, I have a personal prediction. I will wrestle the evil chicken into submission. And on a more wider, I'm going to say AI art is going to keep rising, but it's going to hit a controversy by the end of the year.
Yeah, There's already controversy around it.
Yeah, but it's going to come to a head by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think that's a safe prediction.
All right, Vanessa, Freddie?
I have a very easy one. This is an easy one. Multiverse Convention in Atlanta in October is going to be awesome.
You know how funny? I love how much we're on the same wavelength, because I was gonna say that right before you said that. I was gonna say how great Multiverse was gonna be this year, but
yes,
awesome.
And you'll find out why down the road, everybody. So.
Yes.
All right, Freddie, you're up. Come on, give us a prediction.
I don't like predictions, but I will say that I think the more things change, the more they stay the same. So I think we're going to have more of the same. I think we're going to have, we've seen a huge surge in indie authors. So we'll continue to see that. I think we'll see the big guys struggle with the things that they've been struggling with. There'll be some controversy, some non-controversy. And I think that the indies who will have success, whether on a small scale, a medium or large scale, will accomplish these things in part to grinding it out, sucking it up, and doing the hard shit.
Awesome. All right, well, let's get through the chat real quickly because there's some predictions there. More indie authors will be leaving Amazon, and Amazon will finally open their eyes, but it will be too late.
I agree with the first part of that prediction. I'm not sure Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're blind. They're blind all the time, and they're happy being blind.
Yeah. But there's also going to be a huge portion of authors who are not going to leave, and
yeah,
so that,
probably. Very
so
true.
Indies
are taking storytelling by storm in books and movies. The world needs more stories. 2023, I'm determined to get the script written for Lawless Justice, then get the ball rolling to get it produced and least optioned. Nice. I have a universal contact who will read my screenplay for limitations, so I'm working on that project. Nice.
Ooh, nice.
That's awesome. And MegaCon in Orlando will be awesome as well.
I've never been to MegaCon, so that may be one I need to look into.
Yep, that sounds about right, Andy. Finished screenplay in 2021 and still being in the process for being read. Yeah, you probably got another 3 years, my friend, before you'll see any fruits from that labor. Just from my personal experience.
Didn't see any at all.
Yeah, he's a really talented writer, so I think I have faith in Mr. Mangle. But
it's not Mr. Mangle that.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. I don't have faith in Hollywood.
Just to be clear.
Yeah, I don't have faith in the production system at all. But yeah, hopefully you get it out there and somebody attaches it to you and you get it. You get it at least you get some money for it. Let's put that out there. So, all right. That being said, it's time for us to get on with our getting on. And I'm sorry, everybody. Yes, see, this is what happens when I host. I go like 500 minutes.
No, but the thing is, like, we had a whole year to review and a whole
year
to get ready for, so it takes a little time.
All right, so let's review where we can find everybody. See how I did that? See?
Oh, yeah.
All right, Madeline, tell everybody where they can find you, please.
All right, guys. So my website, you can see it down here. I've got a little pin to point. I'm on my laptop, so it's probably a little delayed today. Check out my books. I have all of my series starters on sale on Amazon for 99 cents right now because I have a new book dropping in January. Pre-order is going to be coming up as soon as I get the cover back. But yeah, I also host Character Driven, which is coming up live on Wednesday with Go Indie Now, so be sure to check it out. There's also a lot of good things going on in Go Indie Now this week. Sorry, my son's being loud in the background if you can hear him. The show crasher, as usual. But make sure you like our show. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys.
Tell everybody, I know you're going to talk about it more probably next Sunday, but tell everybody what you're doing on December 15th.
Oh, yeah, the town hall. So because my brain is off, I am hosting a really cool town hall, one that's actually going to be very educational for me because I don't write a lot of poetry, but it's going to be poetry focused, guys.
Ooh.
So it is going to be the 15th in the evening, and I've got some great authors lined up for you. So
nice. Awesome. We'll look forward to that.
Yes.
All right, Miss Junta, tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, because Madeline was so fancy, I want a pen too. So there's this is where you can find all. My last name is hard to spell, pronounce, all the things, and my first name is spelled funny, so I try to keep it easy, and we'll just go with Vanessa G. So, and also don't forget next Monday, a week from tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. It is 9 p.m., right? Yes, 9 p.m. Eastern, right? Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Because that's what's on my calendar. So that's when I'm going to be there. So that's when it's going to happen. 9 p.m. Eastern, I will be having a conversation and a cocktail with Mr. Compton. I'm very excited.
All right. I am too. I'm really looking forward to it. All right. Anita, tell everybody where they can find you, please.
Well, you can find me at afstewart.ca, all my socials, my Redbubble store, my coffee shop, everything's on the website, all nice and neat. I'm also going to be on the town hall with the poetry people.
Nice.
So you can see me then, and you can see me later this afternoon on my YouTube channel and Facebook page with the new episode of Between the Pages Book Chat, where we are talking to Wayne Turmel, a guest here on past episodes of
awesome
of Go Indie Now's chat show.
Wayne's awesome. That's awesome.
It should be fun.
Yeah, it'd be a good show. All right, Miss Cannon, Where can everybody find you if they don't already know? If they don't know, they're crazy. They should have already found you. But
Well, you can find me at wherever this thing is. Yeah, that at linkinbio.cl/clcanon, at my website, clcanon.net, at Fiction Atlas. Just Google CL Canon or CL Canon author, and I should show up, except for if you just do CL Canon, sometimes this weird masonry place kind of pops up, so don't do that. But I am not on Snapchat. I never will be on Snapchat, but I am on every other social media, even on Mastodon now, as CL Canon or CL Canon author. I do a lot of things here on Go Indie Now, so you'll be seeing me next week for bloopers. Isn't it next week, Joe, that we do the
Yes.
blooper? That's going to be really fun. I'm going to have a lot of fun editing that this week. Yeah, I had a new anthology that just came out, Once Upon a Wicked Heart. It is still a 99 cents until I change it today. So if you want to get it last minute for 99 cents, then today's the day to do it. It's books to read / Once Upon a Wicked Heart. Sorry. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
All right. And I'm Joe Compton. This is Go Indie Now. You found us. Congratulations. And as Vanessa so astutely pointed out earlier, we're almost to 1,000 subscribers. So if you would so kindly subscribe to our channel, we would love to have you because we have so much great stuff going on. And I wanted to mention tomorrow night, a very special and very sad moment for me tomorrow, as Julia Allen will be by to host In Progress. It'll be the final episode of In Progress that we will be producing here at Go Indie Now. It's been an extreme pleasure, and I'll talk more about this tomorrow night on her show. So I will actually be on the show to say a lot of things about this show. But it's been an extreme pleasure to have it. Really, guys, if you can come and hang out and just say thank you to Julia for all she's done for us, it would mean the world to me personally. So you'd be doing me a favor, and I really would appreciate that. That's going to be at 9:00 Eastern tomorrow. Her guest is Zach Winderler, and he's a great author. They had a great conversation last season, and the beginning of this season, he's been a frequent guest on In Progress, and he's really an interesting guy, and he talks a lot about his writing and the process. And so that's going to happen tomorrow. We've got Mean Reviews on Tuesday, Character Driven on Wednesday. I'll get some more videos out, including another Words That Kill episode this week. I've also got some spotlights. We did a spotlight recently on an anthology called Spice and Steam, which Miss Madeline Dale was a part of. That's up right now. You can check that out. And we've got more stuff coming. I've got 21 Grams also back next Friday. I have the amazing and wonderful Ron L.R. joining me. So you definitely don't want to miss that. I'm sure that's going to be a very, very cool conversation. And that'll happen on Friday as well. So, all right. That being said, we've all yapped enough because it's time to give it over to the one, the only, Mr. Freddie Cruz. Take it away, sir. It's all yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's an honor to be a part of this network and this conversation with all you talented folks. Before I read a passage from my third standalone novel, Allow Me to Ruin Your Christmas, I just want to send a huge shout out, much love to the Tuscany Bay Books family. Some of you may or may not know, one of the founding members, Jim Christina, passed away suddenly earlier this year. So much love to them, and I continue to think about and pray for him and his family. It was sad. I regret that I only had a chance to speak with him on a couple of occasions, and so just want to do that. Send that love to Richard and everybody over at Tuscany Bay. And without further ado, this is page 135 of Allow Me to Ruin Your Christmas. This is the holiday mystery set against the backdrop of Houston, Texas. And this is from Beckett's point of view. It's first-person POV alternating chapters. Beckett is a college-age kid. And it goes something like this, beginning with character Avery. You and my dad would totally get along, she says. Your dad is the reason my dad is dead, and he's having an affair with my mom. Really? I reply. Yeah. You like podcasts? You mean 2-hour-long rants by wannabe broadcasters who think they've got something to say just because they can buy a cheap mic and have an internet connection and a YouTube channel with a couple thousand subscribers? Now I know you'd like my dad. I hate your dad. I play dumb. Does he have a podcast? His name is Lex Griffin, host of The Lex Griffin Show. I fake a shocked response. Get out. She nods and tells me about all his guests and people he talks to. Writers, authors, screenwriters, the editors of national magazines like Esquire and retired Navy SEALs. Are you a frog or a velociraptor? I ask, repeating the question one of his SEAL guests once posed. Want to meet him? I already have and he's met my fist. You asking me on a date? Maybe, she says. And now I have to break up. My mom and Lex because I can't have this turn into one of those weird step sibling things. All right. Page 135, y'all.
It's
Oh. And now, sorry, this is live. It's always time to go indie.